individual is armed or not, or at least we have not heard. Wow, this is something. Okay, now it looks like this is where lanes start to open up a little bit on the southbound side of the 405. There's the flare pattern, CHP, and here we go. He went past that big backup, and now he's got a wide-open freeway. Southbound side of the 405, Tony Araxia approaching the 10. That northbound side, that's the headlight side, heading up towards Santa Monica Boulevard, where we have the signal alert on the opposite side of the freeway. Yeah, at first, I was making the point that it's unlikely he knows what's happening. He didn't, because he hit that backup and then had to meander around that backup. He's making a transition now onto the 10 freeway, and it looks like he is going to go eastbound on the 10 back towards where this pursuit may have started in downtown LA or on the east side of LA. CHP tracking this guy, LAPD 18 as well. Now eastbound on the 10 through West LA, through the Palms area, and he will be heading towards downtown Los Angeles. This pursuit now has been going on for upwards of it, close to an hour at least. We started to track it just after the 4 o'clock hour, our assignment desk did, and now we're heading up towards 10 minutes before 5. No question. The 10 freeway, especially Araxia, good point, east and westbound sides of the 10, always busy through the mid-city area during the morning rush. And once the 5 o'clock hour, that's the witching hour for the commute, as I always say, where volume really starts to ramp up. And he's ramping up his speeds here. Again, a high speeds heading eastbound on the 10 freeway, coming away from West LA, away from the 405, now towards mid-city. And he's got a wide-open freeway. I mean, volume is picking up, but he's still going to be able to go along at a really good clip as he makes his way back towards downtown LA, and again towards the point of the origin of this pursuit. LAPD first initiated it, a stolen vehicle suspect, at least 2 people inside, and we saw one person, a passenger, bail out of the front seat there in that West LA neighborhood. Again, what they want to do is they want to bring this pursuit to a safe ending. If there's a possibility to pit him, they will. Obviously, a spiked strip is not practical in a situation like this, in this highly urbanized area where people are getting on the road to go to work and school. But you can see the general flow of traffic and how quickly he is moving in an eastbound direction on the 10 freeway here, now into West Los Angeles. Yeah, absolutely. And being that if it is a stolen vehicle, running the plates won't do you any good, obviously, because the plates will come back to the owner and not to the actual suspect. White minivan here being pursued. It started once again somewhere in the city of Los Angeles, near downtown, on the east side of downtown LA. The pursuit made its way eastbound on the 60 freeway. If you're just joining us, through Paramount, Montebello, over towards the 605 freeway. From there, they made the transition to the northbound side of the 605, took the north 605 all the way up to the 210 Foothill Freeway with very light volume during the early morning hour, during the 4 a.m. hour, and then made their way west on the 210 freeway all the way into downtown Pasadena, connected with the 134, into Eagle Rock, Glendale, Burbank, all the way over to the 101, the Hollywood Split, into Studio City, Sherman Oaks. That's where they made the transition from the westbound side of the 101 to the south 405, through the Sepulveda Pass, all the way down to the big backup because of the signal alerts impacting both sides of the 405 on the west side. He was frantic, so he used the Wilshire Boulevard on-ramp to the south 405 to exit the freeway, narrowly missing cars, head-on crashes against traffic on Wilshire Boulevard. He meandered down surface streets in the west side and then got back on the 405, past the backup on that signal alert, south 405 to the eastbound 10, and that's where we're at, mid-city, that midpoint between the west side where the 405 is and the 110 Harbor Freeway in downtown LA, moving at a really high rate of speed. We're guessing with our velocity up here in Skyfox, he's going 90-plus miles an hour. Oh, no question. The reckless nature of this guy. Let's pull out just a little bit and see how closely the ground units are. They're right up against him still. There you go. They're right up against him. The volume is still light. Yeah, two in picture. There's a couple behind him. The LAPD helicopter. Not sure if he's still up here as well. Yep, he's still tracking him as well, low along the 10 freeway. I can see officers in advance, too, holding traffic. This is a coordinated effort. They are listening, all the officers in the area, on a specific frequency, Tony and Araxia, so that they can communicate with officers who might be up ahead of the pursuit to do traffic control, to keep people from getting on the freeway, to keep the volume light, to give room for the officers who are pursuing them, and to keep this, regardless of how reckless he's driving, as safe as possible, especially for motorists who are just trying to make their way to work. And again, if you ever encounter this type of situation, do not in any way try to be a hero. Don't try to intervene. Don't try to stop, because you just do not know who you're dealing with. High-speed pursuit. Skyfox first on it, and we're now heading into downtown LA on the 10 freeway. Eastbound side of the 10, he's going to be coming up on the 110 freeway. That's how quickly he's moving. He made it from the 405 on the west side all the way to the 110 in a mere couple of minutes, right? Here he is. That's exactly right. And he chose not to take the 110 Harbor Freeway either north or south. He is continuing in an eastbound direction on the 10. And this is the area he's heading into where this pursuit may have started, meaning he may be more familiar with this area. So it'll be interesting to see if he chooses to exit the freeway. We're picking up speed up here in Skyfox to keep up with this guy. These suspects like neighborhoods that they're familiar with. They feel familiar, just like we do when we go into our neighborhood. We know the local spots. We know which way to turn left. We know which way to avoid a backup at one of the streetlights we encounter. And that's what these guys do. They feel that they can get into a neighborhood that they're familiar with and perhaps have an easier time at evading police. Maybe there's a spot where they think that they can bail and get away. This is really look at how quickly he is making his way down the 10 freeway, past all of this traffic, 90-plus miles an hour on the 10 freeway. Now he's going to be coming up on the very busy East LA interchange. That's where the 10, the 60, and the 5 freeways all meet here. The illumination, that night sun you still see from LAPD Helicopter 18 tracking this overhead. And again, it was the Los Angeles Police Department who initiated this pursuit earlier this morning in this general area. That's where our assignment desk first picked it up. And then the pursuit made its way in an eastbound direction on the 60 from the East LA interchange through Montebello up towards the 605. Let's see what he chooses to do, because he's got a lot of options here at the East LA interchange where traffic is starting to build now that we are approaching the 5 o'clock hour. Again, the pursuit initiated by the LAPD. CHP picked it up. LAPD, once it left their jurisdiction, they asked for the CHP to help them out, and that's exactly what happened. So 2 agencies on this at this time. It looks like the lead car is a CHP cruiser there. So we're going to see what he does here at the interchange. Again, this is where the 10, the 60, and the 5 freeway all meet. So he has choices. He can go southbound on the 5, northbound on the 5. He can connect with the 60. He can stay on the 10 and wrap around up towards the Boyle Heights area, the 5 and Dime, near County USC Medical Center. But it looks like he's staying in an eastward direction here, although that does look like a flyaway transition. Let's see what he does here. Nope, it looks like he's staying eastbound on the 60 freeway through East LA. And again, this is the general vicinity we believe this pursuit may have started, possibly initiated by the Hollenbeck station. Is he going to take an off-ramp here? Wow, he's going at a quick rate. He was just trying to avoid. Yeah, he looks at. Exiting the freeway. Really quickly, exiting the freeway here. Exiting the freeway. Let's see what he does. He just made impact with a curb, and it looked like his car was disabled somewhat. We've seen some sparks fly out the back end of it. It's unclear if he's got a flat tire. Now he's making a U-turn. And this is a neighborhood he might be familiar with. So now he's going against traffic. I'll try to get you this street here in just a moment. The major here on this street. It's 5 o'clock. You're watching Fox 11 News. And again, we've been tracking this pursuit from up here in Skyfox for the last 20, 25 minutes. And the amount of real estate that he has covered in that short period of time, from the valley where we first picked this up, towards the West Valley, through the Sepulveda Pass, down towards West LA, now east of downtown LA, in the East Los Angeles area, on surface streets, having exited the 60 freeway just past the East LA interchange. Yeah, and that exactly, and that was a point I made just a short time ago, Roxy, and that, you know, it'd be interesting to see if he does choose to exit in this area where he's comfortable with, because this is possibly the area where the pursuit was first initiated by the LAPD on the east side of downtown LA, through East LA, now on surface streets here, and you can see the illumination of the minivan here. More sparks out the back end. So this car looks to be possibly disabled here a little bit. I don't know if he's lost a tire or not. It's too difficult because of the darkness to determine that at this time. Again, white minivan being pursued, an alleged stolen vehicle. We heard that there was at least 2 suspects inside. We saw one hop out on a West LA surface street just off of Santa Monica Boulevard on the 405, and he's meandering around this neighborhood. Again, as Roxy, you just pointed out, whether or not he knows it or not, more sparks. That's unclear at this time, but they are tracking him from above and the ground still. No question. Fortunately, it's still early. The kids aren't out getting ready to catch the bus or walk to school, but you will see a lot of individuals who walk to work, who ride their bike to work, and this is the time they hit the streets. More sparks as he hits those dips in the intersections there. Another one there. Again, they're pursuing him. And how much gas this car had, too, because, again, he's been driving at a very high rate of speed. You don't get the best gas mileage when you're going 90 or 100 miles an hour, and it's been going for some time. And it's covered a lot of miles across Southern California. Again, eastbound on the 60 freeway, that's what we first heard, coming away from the East LA interchange through South El Monte to the 605, up north to 605, all the way to the 210 freeway westbound, all the way to the 134, into the San Fernando Valley, south on the 405, through the Sepulveda Pass towards the west side, exiting the freeway because the traffic was stopped because of the SIG alert impacting both the north and southbound sides of the 405. Then he was able to meander around that, get on the 10 freeway eastbound through downtown LA. He covered the 10 freeway eastbound from the 405 to the 110 Harbor Freeway in a mere 2 or 3 minutes flat, going 90 miles an hour with no volume, maybe even 100 miles an hour. And then he chose to exit here in the East LA area, Boyle Heights area of LA, just meandering through surface streets. And again, it's difficult for us to keep track of the exact location of these streets, but he's very close to the East LA interchange, north of the 60 at this point. That was West LA, right off the 405 freeway, near the intersection of the 405 and the 10, near Santa Monica Boulevard, on a surface street there. And he did slow down, so it looked like the passenger was like, hey, I'm out of here. And the minivan definitely slowed down enough that we saw the door open and somebody pop out. But there was a couple of units behind this minivan, so unclear if they were able to take that individual into custody or not. And it's unclear if there's more suspects in addition to the driver at this point. We just don't know, and officers don't know. Officers don't know who they're dealing with here. They don't know if this individual is armed. Bottom line, he's driving at such a high rate of speed, so dangerously, and it looks like he's gonna get back on the freeway here. There he goes. There it is. Yep. Yeah, that's what we saw from up here. We definitely saw that happen, and I'm glad you guys were able to pull that up. So at least one person, and our assignment desk, who's been tracking this vigilantly through the morning hours, said that they heard that there could be at least 2 people in the vehicle. And he's making a westbound trek now on the 60 freeway back towards the East LA interchange into downtown Los Angeles. Or he may make his way north on the 5, but he's got a lot more volume. With every minute of the morning goes by, Tony and Roxy, the volume picks up. You know it. When you get on the freeway, if you're 5 minutes, running maybe 5 minutes or so late than your typical time, you notice those extra cars, and that's what happens especially during the 5 o'clock hour. Now it's 5:05 on this Tuesday morning. You're watching Fox 11 News, a high-speed pursuit that has covered a lot of real estate, a lot of miles across Southern California, from downtown eastward to South El Monte, up into the foothill communities towards Pasadena, and then into the San Fernando Valley. There's a very busy East LA interchange. Let's see what transition he chooses to take. If he heads back west on the 10, north on the 5. We pan the camera a little bit to the left here. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. There he is. It looks like he's going to make his way. There's the interchange. He's got a couple of choices to make here still. Again, this is where the 60, the 5, and the 10 all meet here. The very busy East LA interchange. And it looks like he's back west. Yep, back on the heart of downtown LA towards the 110 Harbor Freeway. The LAPD helicopter continues to illuminate this white minivan, allegedly stolen, not allegedly driving recklessly and trying to evade police. We've seen that firsthand. Nearly colliding with at least one vehicle as he made impact with that backup on the South 405 because most of the freeway was blocked on the south side, all lanes on the northbound side. And that's where he really panicked, and he used the Wilshire Boulevard on-ramp to the South 405 to exit the freeway against traffic. Again, westbound on the 10 freeway, Tony and Roxia, towards the 110 Harbor Freeway. Skyfox had this first, and we continue to track this high-speed pursuit here in downtown LA. It certainly was. He was using a very narrow right shoulder area to get by some of that backup on the South 405, nearly making impact with some big rigs, some Caltrans crews. You know, all we've seen is close calls or maybe some minor impacts. I'm not sure if there was anything significant that happened prior to us picking up this pursuit, because, again, the pursuit had already covered several miles before we got on top of it in the San Fernando Valley. It made its way eastbound on the 60 freeway through Montebello. Then on the northbound 605, transitioning to the westbound 210 freeway all the way through downtown Pasadena. But at the early hour with light volume, he was able to go 90, 100 miles an hour. And again, the point that needs to be brought up is how much gas is in that tank. How much gas was in that tank when he allegedly stole this vehicle, because he's been traveling at such a high rate of speed. You burn so much more fuel. Your fuel efficiency decreases. And he's covered a lot of miles. You know, we've seen pursuits just come to an end. There's some that have, you know, the cars gradually slows down. He's making a transition now onto the Harbor Freeway right through the downtown slot. And it's unclear if they just decided to give up or they ran out of gas. But that does happen. It certainly does happen. Cars become disabled or they actually run out of gas, or they just get tired of running, these suspects. But he's running right now, and he still feels he can get away. They run because they think there is a chance. And again, at least in the LAPD jurisdiction, a little less than 20% are able to evade police. Some of that is because the officers back off because it's just too unsafe. Now, this is the stretch of the 110 that really does start to load up. You're going to see more cars. This is the northbound Harbor Freeway coming away from the 10 right through the heart of downtown LA. There's the 6th and 9th Street off-ramps, and let's see if he chooses to exit the freeway here. And if he did, he'd be right in the heart of the city, the skyscrapers here of downtown LA. And he may do that. He may feel that that's an easier way out. Let's see what he decides to do that. He's going to take an off-ramp. here in downtown LA. Now, this might get dicey for us as well. Oh, now he's choosing to do a hop back on the freeway. So he's playing a little cat and mouse there with officers. Now he's going to take this off-ramp. He's committed here. It's the 6th Street off-ramp, and 6th Street is undergoing all of that construction. And again, this is going to be difficult for us with the skyscrapers here to maneuver around here. We don't have the clear airspace, but we're going to do our best to track this from up here above the city. Downtown LA still pretty vacant at this time. There's 6th Street looking up ahead, and he's got an open road making his way eastbound. And again, these are a lot of one-way streets. You guys know downtown LA, north and southbound, and east and west. Again, the east-west streets are the numbered streets. No, not at all. And he's making his way across downtown LA. It looks like there's a red light here. Going through the intersection there, right through that red light. Again, another infraction which they are keeping close tabs on. Everyone, this guy, once they bring him into custody, and we hope he is brought into custody. Oh, across an intersection there. Very close. Running another red light. Heading in an eastbound direction. Now he's on the east side of downtown LA, and we're able to look through the canyon here of these skyscrapers, as is the LAPD unit. Making a left turn now, heading northbound. If this is Main or Broadway, we'll get a location here for you. And again, LAPD units, they're all listening in on a specific frequency so they can, there's a pedestrian there crossing over the street. Okay, looks like he might bail out here. There he goes. He just popped out of the vehicle. That is the driver. That is the driver. And let's see what the car's doing here. The car's coming to a stop. And that was the driver who dropped out, and I think he hit his head rather violently. That car is not occupied right now. Wow, what a crazy ending to this pursuit. The suspect on the ground here. He's moving his arm. He's moving both of his arms, that he looks injured. I can't tell if that's a female or a male. It is a female. That was a female driver there. We had no description of any of the suspects. We couldn't tell the individual who was able to jump out. And she's being taken into custody, but she made impact with the ground rather violently here in downtown LA. CHP is taking her into custody at this time. Now, usually when it's a female, and if there's a female officer, it's a female officer that will come over and check her for weapons, contraband at this time. But you know, given the severity of the situation, those are male officers that are detaining her, cuffing her, and will be taking her into custody. Allegedly a stolen vehicle suspect, definitely a suspect that was driving incredibly recklessly down the freeways of Southern California, the 60, the 605, the 210 freeway, the 405, back onto the 10, back onto the 60, exiting, getting back on the 60, then up the 110 freeway, exiting at 6th Street through downtown Los Angeles. Here's the vehicle, and they're going to make sure they're going to clear it, obviously, before they can code for it. But it did not appear that anybody else exited the minivan, except for the individual we saw hop out of the minivan in West LA. So this appears to have come to a conclusion here. Hopefully nobody, no innocent pedestrians or motorists were injured in this. From what we saw, perhaps just a couple of minor impacts between the minivan and other automobiles, especially on the 405 freeway southbound, when this female suspect made contact possibly with a couple of vehicles in the backup of that Sigler on the South 405 on the west side. Yeah, she hit hard, and they will definitely call for paramedics from the Los Angeles Fire Department before. They're not going to put her in the back of a car here. That's standard protocol. You know, she wasn't moving much after she fell. No, she's cuffed. She's handcuffed at this time. Yeah, she's definitely handcuffed. So they're gonna. She's moving her head. She's